Right. Start a presentation. Okay, so we'll start here since no questions have been asked from your side. So now we'll just recap the previous things. We were discussing about routing. I just wanted to tell you that routing is a very uh, complex and crucial task in networking. Okay, so this is for computer science people. This is a very important thing. Okay, and most of the research are taking place over there. However, the algorithm that I have taught so far is two algorithm. One is a static, another one is the REAP. Okay, static routing. Other one is REAP. Okay, and one more I'll be discussing about that is the OSPF. Okay, so these three are basically what? These three are basically used normally in the within the autonomous system. Okay, so one may ask, what is autonomous system? So autonomous system is a system where all the nodes and all the devices within that network is under the control of single administration. Okay, so single administration, just like SMIT network, is under control of single administration. Okay, it doesn't mean that only one person can make changes or can administrate the thing, but yes, single administration authority, the things are under the control of that. Okay, so I hope it is clear. So in that case, we have these three basic important, or you may say popular options. One is a static, one is REAP, one is OSPF. So we have also seen that even though the static is very simple and we have to do the manual configuration on each router, still static routing is a very popular mechanism. Okay, and it is still in the use because it is having two advantages. One is that since the algorithm is very simple, so that there is no what it is called overhead in that. Okay, overhead means there is no administrative packets moving in the network. Okay, to find the route, I just wanted to first make a network and then I'll describe. It would be better for your understanding. Okay, so let us just assume that these are some nodes in the network. Okay, and all are let's say this way they are connected. Okay, so I just have made this network. Okay, so these are connections, and you may say that vertex are basically the nodes of the network. Okay, now maybe this is a part of the network. Any node may get connected with this network, like that I am connected with this, so I may be considered as a source node. Okay, and there is another sort of thing, that another node which is connected is the destination. Okay, now if I need to transfer a packet from this source to this destination, I have to make use of the network infrastructure. Okay, inside the network infrastructure, packet may be transmitted. I would also like to bring in your notice that packet or a data transfer, data transfer normally takes place in two ways. Okay, so that may be known to you. Even if it is not known to you, I am just introducing the data transfer. If you talk about data transfer take place in two ways. Okay, what are the two ways? One is known as circuit switching, and other one is known as packet switching. Okay, circuit switching and the packet switching. Okay, so circuit switching and packet switching, what is the difference? This is a very important question. What is the difference between circuit switching and packet switching? Okay, so packet switching, basically individual packets are going to be switched. Okay, so switching means transferring a packet from one node to another node. Okay, in order to deliver it to the destination. Okay, now circuit switching, basically it is used, it is better to explain with an example. Circuit switching is basically used when we make a phone call or a call through a mobile. Okay, so when our call is going to be connected, a circuit is going to be built from source to destination. So in that case also we are crossing the network. There is no doubt that we are not making use of network. Okay, but one circuit is going to be built. Okay, circuit is going to be built means, let's say this is a one node, this is a one node, this is a one node. Okay, now this is like this is something like that. Okay, now when the things the connection is going to be used for data transmission, so now what is happening, this is going to be locked, this is going to be locked. So that means this link is used for data transmission. Okay, now maybe here is the source and here is the destination. Let's say this is source and this is destination. Okay, this is during the first call, maybe this circuit may be selected. Okay, in the second call it might be like that, this is not going to be used. Okay, so this is going to be used. Okay, so this is going to be connected, this is going to be connected, and this is going to be connected. So you may just see that this circuit is going to be prepared. Okay, from source to destination. Okay, so one circuit has been prepared, and subsequent data transfer must be using this circuit only for the data transmission. So what is the advantage here? There is no further routing. This has been decided once during the connection establishment, and there onwards there is no change. This is what it is happening when we make a phone call or a call through mobile. So one path is going to be selected, circuit is going to be prepared between the caller and the callee, and same circuit is going to be used during the entire conversation. Now on the other hand, in case of packet switching, that is used over the internet, the data is entire data that we have already learned, that you may be having a data of 10 GB, 20 GB, 30 GB, but entire data is divided in bits and pieces, and these bits and pieces are going to be framed, and accordingly a single individual units of that that is stored in a packet. Single individual bits and pieces, you may say, so whatever piece that you have created, and I have already told you the size of the piece, that depends upon the technology, link layer technology that is going to be used. Just like in case of Ethernet, we have seen that the size of the packet, maximum size of the packet is 1500 bytes. Okay, so this way we can prepare different packets, and every packet it is quite possible that the packet 1 may be routed through one router, and packet 2 may be routed through another router. So this is what is happening in the packet switching. Like just some packets are traveling from source to destination. Let's say 2 packets have been traveled by this path, okay, and remaining 3 packets may have been traveled by sorry, I'll give it to a different color. So this is remaining 3, 1, 2 and 3, so maybe have taken a different route. So this, just see that you have to go here and then sorry, just a minute, I mistake I have done. Then packet reached here, okay, these 3 packets, and from this the packet is given here. Okay, so in case of first 2 packet, what is happening? You just see that this route has been selected. For remaining 3 packets, let's say I have from source to destination, I have to deliver 5 different packets. So 2 different packets have taken this route, and 3 other packets have taken this route to reach it to the destination, though they are reaching to the same destination. So this is also possibly in case of packet switching. And what routing that we are discussing, that basically we are discussing about packet switching. And we know that when we talk about internet, that means we are talking about packet switching. So in a packet switching network, routing aspect is very complex and crucial. Now, whatever I have been discussed, if you look into that, the routing algorithm, if you look into that, then you will find that, sir, whatever you have taught, like a static routing and RIP, that is very easy. Where is the complexity? There is no complexity, because the algorithm which I have discussed is very simple. Definitely the static routing and RIP is most simplest routing algorithm. And one of the desirable properties, one of the most desirable properties of a routing is known as correctness and simplicity. So you must make a note, because I am not going to prepare any PPT for that. So I will suggest you to take a note on this class. Okay, so as I stated that correctness and the simplicity is the most desirable property from the routing. So correctness means the data must be delivered to the correct destination. Okay, so it should not that I am sending here data to D, but it may be some other node which is connected in this network, let's say E, and data is delivered at E. That is not acceptable. Okay, so correctness should be there. So it must be following the correct route in order to reach to the destination. And the second desirable properties must be simple. If you apply a complex algorithm, then definitely there will be no understanding, and accordingly the implementation will be difficult, and also the overhead will increase. Overhead means, I just wanted to tell you what is the overhead. So suppose a source source have a message to transmit to the destination, 5 packets. Okay, now just I give you a realistic example. I want to take a class. Now, for taking a class, I have to do several administrative activities. So what are those? First of all, I have to schedule the class. Okay, and then I have to choose the mode of taking a class, and then we have to check the connectivity from the students, whether it is appropriate or not. Whatever class that I am taking, whether it is received by our students or not. So these verification sort of things are basically administrative job. And this is here user is nowhere interested in these administrative task that is going to be taken place, because these are extra overhead. End user is only interested to transmit his original message which he wants to give it to the destination. Now, in order to ensure that the data has been received by the receiver or not, we are doing several activities, and that is completely known as the overhead. So I think you may have understood, this is very simple, that what message original thing which you want to convey, which a user want to convey, this is only the thing which is in which user is interested. But in order to achieve, the administrator has to do several jobs. Now, sometimes user also need to be involved in that administrative sort of task. I am not denying that. Okay, so if you design a complex algorithm, the things will be difficult. I just want to give an example. In a case of a static routing, you are you know the topology of the network, and you are fixing a path. Now, once you have fixed the path, then there is no messages which are going to be, no overhead messages which are going to be exchanged between two routers. Only the packet which is given by the source reaching to a particular router, and accordingly as per the entry, it is going to be forwarded. However, two routers are not sharing any administrative packet with each other in order to find a route, because route selection has been done in the very beginning with the help of a static routing algorithm. An administrator has already coded that how you have to. Now that will remain effective until unless there is no change in the topology. Okay, so and definitely if there is a change in topology, we have to make changes in the static routing. Topology means a router in one node is out of reach, one node is down, one router is not working. Definitely in that case we have to update the static routing. But until and unless there is a change in the topology, the things are working perfectly all right. So in that case, there is no overhead. Coming to RIP protocol. So what basically is happening in the RIP protocol? If you remember my previous lecture, in case of RIP network, so that's just here I am taking an example that this particular node, if this particular node has to prepare a routing table means how on the basis of what the things are going to be forwarded. Okay, so what information basically we have in the routing table? Okay, so basically we are keeping the next hop information, okay, we are keeping the keeping the cost of the route, and then we are keeping that where basically the destination. Okay, so in case of destination is A, the cost will be, let's say, 6, and next node may be the B, something like that, just for an example. So this sort of information we are keeping. Okay, so that is going to be that is table is known as routing table, and that is also known as lookup table. Okay, so based on this information stored in this lookup table, the routes are decided. Now, how to prepare this? To prepare this, we have already seen that this particular, if we talk about this router, so this gets information from this gets information from this router, this collects the information from this router, this collects the information from this router, and based on that it will decide his reachability कि वो कहाँ पे पहुँच सकते हैं, and accordingly what are the cost. And now the cost, which is the minimum cost, is selected as a final, and accordingly the table is going to be updated, which with the detailed algorithm we have already seen. What is in abstract? We are collecting information from our neighbor, and similarly I am also sharing my information with my neighbor. Now here the entire routing table I am sharing. Basically as I stated that in case of REAP, what we are considering for selecting a thing is how many hops that is required to travel from A to D. Let's say if you talk about this example, the first example, so this first route, so how many hops are there? 1 hop, 2 hop, 3 hop. Okay, and this is the 4. So that source and the destination, if you look into that they are 2 hop away from each other, because here you consider that here is the source only, here is the destination only. If you consider that this router is the destination router and this is a source router, then they are 2 hop away. What are these? First is this and second is this. Similarly, if you follow this route, then also I just select the blue route, 1 hop, 2 hop, 3 hop, and this is source and destination, this is again 2 hop away. Now if you select this route, the number of hops will increase. So this is the basically in case of RIP protocol, only number of hops, how many number of hops that we need to travel or need to visit in order to reach to the destination is only the parameter to decide which is the minimum cost or that optimum path. Okay, so the path having minimum number of hops is going to be considered as a parameter for route selection in case of REAP protocol. Okay, however, the REAP protocol in this case, that REAP protocol does not consider the other parameters. Now one may ask, sir, what are the other parameters then that need to be taken into account? Okay, so since we are learning a network, so we must be knowing that what are the parameters that can be taken into account when we are designing a routing algorithm. Okay, so one may say that what are the desirable properties, and one may say that what are the design parameters. Okay, so first of all I'll just write here and then I'll elaborate. So what are the design parameters, sorry, desirable parameters, desirable, oh sorry me a note here, parameter, what are the desirable parameter. First one is correctness and simplicity. So I am writing here so that it will be easy for you to prepare for exam. This becomes easy. Then we have stability, and then we have fairness. Okay, so we have fairness, and then the last one is the efficiency. So these are basically the desirable parameter. Apart from that, we have to also discuss the design parameters. We come to that. For that, I will be covering these few important points. I think it is visible. Desirable parameter is visible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you just see the first one is correctness and simplicity, which I have already discussed. The second is stability. Okay. And one more I have missed. Sorry, one more is very important. Just a minute. This is very important. So this is how the things are complex. So this will give you the understanding. Okay. Okay. So just look into that. First, as I stated, the correctness and simplicity. The second one is the stability. Okay. So stability means that roots algorithm must be converging to a final root. Now, yes, just look into the example of RIP. What is happening in the RIP? As I have discussed in the last class, we are 30 students. Okay, so all 30 students are there in the same single network. Okay, now what is happening? You will be sharing your routing information with your neighbor. Then your neighbor will share the information to the next neighbor, and so on. And this way, ultimately, the node information given by a node is going to be propagated to in the entire network. So information given by my neighbor is helping me to make an optimal path, and I am sharing my optimal path to my neighbor. So my neighbor will also prepare the optimal path. So accordingly, the information given by any node in the network is somehow helping all other node in the network to converge a final root. And this converging a final root, taking information from every other node that exists in the network is known as a final and stable path. Now, if there is a change in the network, then again the neighbor information needs to be updated. In case of RIP protocol, as I stated, in every 30 seconds, a node is supposed, node here means I am referring to a router. Router here is supposed to give its information to the neighbors. So routers are supposed to share their information after interval of 30 seconds. Now when the stable route is going to be formed, it depends upon like in this case A and D. If I just do the numbering, okay, so R1, let's say this is R1, and let's say this is Rn, or let's say this is R5. Now when the R1 information will be actually considered in forming the route of R5, so after 30 seconds, this will give it to its neighbor. Okay, let's say this neighbor, and then accordingly through this neighbor it is reaching here. So it is 30 seconds wasted here, 30 seconds wasted here, if it is 2 hop away. If it is more than that, then accordingly will be more time it is going to be elapsed in order to formulate a final stable path. Because information need to be shared with each other, and until and unless we collect the information from every node, we cannot say that the path is the final converged path. So whatever path, I may be forming a path, but that may be considered as based on the partial information. So final path is still to emerge. Okay, so this is and now I want to tell that whatever is the final path, that must be stable. Stable means it should not be changing very frequently. The change we should make, the change should be minimum. However, there are various mechanisms also to make changes. Mechanism, not I am talking about mechanism, basically various timing to make update. First one, as I know is known as continuous. Continuous means continuously all routers are sharing their information with each other continuously. The other may be periodic, as I stated that this is an example of periodic, that every 30 seconds node should share the information with other. The other possibility might be based on the major load change. If there is some change in the major load change in the network, just I am telling you an example, that if suppose a particular route is very heavily loaded, maybe this route is the least cost path, but what is happening, there is heavy traffic on this route. So real life example is maybe you have already taken a 6-lane route, but that 6-lane route is full of all traffic. So it is even if the route is 6-lane, it is very difficult to travel. If you look into big cities like Delhi, Mumbai and all, even if the road is wide, that you will find a very heavy traffic. Okay, so this is what is one another thing. So if there is heavy traffic in the network, so network is congested, then we may be supposed to converge a different route in that case. Now the topology change. Topology change means some node may have, some router is down, some router has left. So in that case, we have to that information must be propagated to each other node. Otherwise, the previous information may lead to a wrong path selection. As I stated, that cannot be case, because correctness is the prime thing that we have to achieve. So if you are selecting a wrong route, then you will be unable to reach it to the destination. Now next is the fairness. So fairness is against the reservation policy. So you may be knowing in the packet switching, as I stated, that for each individual packets, routes are going to be selected. Suppose some source and some packet is transmitted between a designated source and designated destination have been given highest priority, and it is always involved in data transmission, then definitely, as we have learned in the operating system also, this will lead to a problem of starvation. So high priority things will always get a chance, and low priority packet will never be transferred. So fairness is another thing that we have to ensure that every node in the network must get a fair chance for the data transmission. Optimality, it may be clear that you must be selecting a route which must be optimal between the source to a destination. However, optimal, it doesn't mean that you should only count the number of hops from source to destination. That cannot be considered as an optimal path. But yes, if you ask in RIP protocol, as per RIP protocol, the optimal path is one which is having the shortest route, and shortest route is selected based on the number of hop counts. So in RIP, definitely optimal route is the route which is having minimum number of hops. But yes, we have several other parameters, as I stated. So I'll be just demonstrating you what are the other parameters. Let's say this is a router. I have just made a router, okay, and the packet is received on this ingress port, okay, and then we have several other link or interface. You may say that this router having 4 interfaces. Let's say this is interface 1, this is interface 2, this is interface 3, this is interface 4. And through interface 1, a packet is received. Okay, so packet is received through this interface. Now where to forward? We have 4 other interfaces, 3 other interfaces from which you can send the packet which I have received. Definitely from where I have received, I will not put the packet on the same interface. I will avoid this thing, having no meaning. From where you have received, and again you are putting the packet on the same interface, have no meaning. Okay, so we have to select among these 3. Okay, now what are the other parameters which is contributing in selecting an optimal route? Okay, so that is basically very subjective. Okay, what are the things that we have to consider? I'll be describing here. It may be based on no information. So one may ask, if I having no information, that how do I select a path? So if I have made a static routing, I am just giving an example that this router R1 I have configured it as a static. Static routes have already been given. So if the static route is already been given, it does not require any information from anywhere in order to select the route, because the things have already been given. Okay, now sometimes we take a local information. So first one is no information, second one is local information. So one may ask, what is the local information? Okay, so local information is like that. I just wanted to tell you, this is very important to understand, that every interface in the router having a queue. Okay, having a queue. So what is basically happening in the queue? So let's say these are few packets which are waiting in the input queue or the ingress port. Few packets are waiting for getting it transferred. Definitely, when the packet is received, immediately it cannot be transferred because we have a routing table, okay, and I have to consult that routing table. I have to consult the routing table, and that routing table will give me information where to forward these packets. Now this lookup may require some time. By the time that packets will remain in the queue, until unless they will get the instructions that where to forward. Once it will get instruction that this packet 1 needs to be transferred here, packet 2 needs to be transferred here, packet 3 needs to be transferred on this interface, something like that. So by the time the packets are waiting there in the queue. Similarly, this is always happening on the output port. So output port may be having 5 packets or 3 packets they are waiting. So here also we are maintaining a queue. So packet waiting to be transferred on the wire or on the medium, because when we are transmitting the thing, that may require some time. This depends upon the link layer technology that you are using, that how fast the data is going to be kept on the medium. So everywhere we are making a queue, and that queue length is a local information. Local information means the information which is already with me, and that will participate to decide an optimal route. So if I see that this link interface 1 is already full of his queue is already filled up. Let's say the queue length is 10 and all 10 has been occupied. So what is the point to giving more data to that interface? Is there any point? Because if I give, suppose my capacity, my glass is already filled up, and I am pouring more water in the glass, then what will happen? That water will spill out from there. Okay, so that having no point to putting more water in a glass which is already filled up. Similarly, there is no point to adding more packets in the queue where the queue is already full. So buffer, whatever maintaining there, must be having a limited size. So that is the local information that I'll collect the queue length of every interface, and optimal path may be selected. Just I am giving simple example. The interface having minimum waiting queue will be selected as a optimal path. So this is an example of local information for selecting a optimal path. I think it is clear to you that how it is playing an important role. So this is basically based on the local information, and a queue length may be considered as another parameter. So it is not only the shortest route, it is also the queue length is also playing a very key role in the routing decision. So that is why it is known as critical. Okay, it is not that simple to decide a route. Okay, so queue length is another example which is local, based on the local information. The other is the adjacent. We can collect the information from adjacent node. Adjacent means the neighbor node. Okay, like RIP protocol. So in the case of RIP protocol, what we are doing? We are collecting information about the route from our neighbor to decide the optimal route. Okay, so let's say I need to go to Patna, and I am having a route information that if I go through node R1, I will reach Patna, and the distance is 500 kilometers. But somebody else having some other route, my neighbor, let's say some other neighbor has given me a update that okay, if you want to go to Patna, this is the Patna and next node is maybe this, and you will reach there, and the distance is 450 kilometers. Then I'll change my thing and optimal route will be updated. So this is based on the adjacent information, means the neighbor information. RIP protocol is based on that. Okay, so one example as I stated is the RIP. Okay, now next is the nodes along with the route and the all nodes. So some takes the nodes along the routes. Nodes along the routes means I have already selected an optimal path, but I have to select the to know the condition of the route also. So nodes along the route has given the information that this is congested. There is a heavy congestion in this route, so we have to change. Or there is a jam in the route. So you have already selected nodes to the destination, selected a route, but there is a jam in that route. So that also be considered as a parameter. Okay. Now next is information collected from all nodes. Okay, now we will see in the next example that OSPF is an example of that category. OSPF. After RIP, we are going to learn the OSPF algorithm. In case of OSPF algorithm, what is going to happen? The every node in the network will flood their information up to, about the optimal path. Every node will flood his information. Okay, so what is the difference? One may say, यहाँ पे आप जो RIP में कर रहे हैं, you are giving your information to your neighbor, then your neighbor is formulating a routing table based on the information given by you, and then the final routing table is shared with other nodes. It doesn't mean that whatever information that you have given, the same information is going to be propagated. No, you have given me information as a neighbor. I am applying my own logic. I am preparing my own routing table, and then I am sharing this information to my neighbors. But in case of OSPF protocol, no, this sort of thing is not happening. Directly, whatever information that I am having, I am sharing that information. How? I am flooding. So flooding, you may have learned that how flooding works. I have given in the very beginning. So the information is going to be flooded. Now just imagine about here in this case that how much is going to be overhead created. Every node is flooding their information. And until unless we collect the all information from all the nodes, I cannot converge a final route. So the convergence time will be very high. But yes, in this case, the OSPF is also known as global. The route is going to be selected based on the global path. Or you may say global information, sorry, not global path, global information, because I have collected information from all my neighbor, not neighbor, all nodes in my network. So all of you will give me the information, I will collect your flooded information, and then I will converge to a final path. So this is how that nodes information is collected from all nodes to forming a optimal path. So I'll finish up within 2-3 minutes. Efficiency. Efficiency means we also need to take care of that efficiency of a particular route that you have selected. Efficiency, how basically efficiency of a routing algorithm is going to be selected. As I stated in the very beginning, that overhead should be low. So if the overhead of algorithm is low, then that can be considered as a efficient algorithm. So that way you can say that a static routing is a very efficient algorithm, because we have completely no overhead. But a static suffers from other problems that I have already discussed, the limitations. But yes, in terms of efficiency, static having the highest efficiency. Okay, so overhead should be minimum. This should be the criteria. Robustness is another major important thing, desirable parameters from the router. Robustness means even if there is some problem in the network, the network is still capable to deliver packets via some other routes. So even if some routers are facing some difficulty, the network is capable to deliver the packet to the destination through other routes. So some router may face a failure, and if some router is facing a failure, it doesn't mean that our packet should not be delivered to the destination. So this is the robustness criteria, that how much robust is your routing protocol or routing algorithm. Okay, so it should be robust. So these are a few desirable parameters which we must look into. I have discussed it later on, first discussing some example intentionally, so that you should have clear-cut idea that what exactly we have achieved by RIP and OSPF, and what we cannot achieve. So that may be the limitation of these two. We have found some limitations in the static routing. So we have discussed about RIP. Then we will discuss tomorrow that what are the limitations of the RIP protocol. Okay, and since there are some limitations in the RIP protocol, we have moved to OSPF protocol. So with that, I am finishing this lecture. Okay, I hope the topic must be clear to you, that what are the things that we must take into account while we are selecting a route from source to destination. So hop count cannot be considered as the only parameter to select a route. So it may be that you may have selected a route from source to destination may be shortest, okay, but may be suffering from other problems like route congestion, fairness, stability. Okay, so then we have to change the route. Okay, so with that I'm finishing. Somebody must switch off the recording. I'll take the attendance now.